truth of the matter is that this is a team in transition. And when you have a team in transition, when there's a generational shift, there will be some uncertainty. That is only to be expected. I mean, why should we be worried whether Sai Sudarshan plays at number 3 or Karun Nair plays at number 3? Do we pick Shardul Thakur or Nitish Reddy? These are, I think, the only two real conundrums in this match. You have a captain who's still trying to prove himself as a test player. He has tremendous potential. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Shubman Gill is a cricketer of tremendous potential. And I have no doubt that he is an all-format player like Virat Kohli.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to Round the Clock Cricket with me, Rahul. We are going to preview the India-England series today, the new cycle of WTC 25-27, and we have a very special guest with us to preview the same. He needs no introduction as he dons many hats, from being one of the youngest editors of Times of India, Mumbai, to a consulting editor of India Today, a seminal journalist, award-winning journalist, author, Padma Shri. I'm pleased to have Rajdeep Sardesai with me. Good morning. Good evening, sir.
Rahul, great to be with you and your entire team of cricket fans or aficionados, and yes, wonderful sir. To be chatting with all of you.
Thank you, sir. Really, absolute goosebumps for me, at least, and my team also. I never thought that I will have you in my show. Absolute pleasure. Sir, my first question to you is, it's a very critical series we are starting with three big players, Ashwin not there, Kohli and Virat, and Kohli and Rohit, and it is a bigger team with Harshit being added yesterday. My first question to you is, in spite of this big team, and today morning also we have seen that in the interview from Rishabh Pant's press conference that they have not finalized on number 3 yet. They are still thinking on Karun Nair or Sai Sudarshan. So my first question to you is, in spite of such a big team, this conundrum for these positions, Nitish or Shardul, 3 spinners, and even a better shot, which could have been Shreyas. Your take, sir.
You know, Rahul, first of all, I think, as I said, once again, thank you very much for having me. But the truth of the matter is that this is a team in transition. And when you have a team in transition, when there's a generational shift, there will be some uncertainty. That is only to be expected. I mean, why should we be worried whether Sai Sudarshan plays at number 3 or Karun Nair plays at number 3? Do we pick Shardul Thakur or Nitish Reddy? These are, I think, the only two real conundrums in this match. It will all, give it some time. This is a series where we are going into it with a relatively new young team. And you can't expect miracles overnight. So let's not raise our expectations too high. At the same time, I believe that this team has a lot of firepower, especially in bowling. Any team which has the best bowler in the world in Jasprit Bumrah will always be a strong team. So I think many of the selection issues that you're raising are simply because you can't fill in the boots of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and Ravichandran Ashwin overnight. It's only about that. I think let's be patient. And if we are patient, I think this team will eventually deliver. There's a lot of talent out there.
Okay, sir. So you're saying that conundrum is not as deep as it should be. So let's be patient.
Absolutely. Particularly because it's only the first test of the series. And in the first test, both teams usually size each other up. And I think if we look at this test by test, I think you will find the Indian team gets better and better as this series goes on. That's my belief. That if we have a good first test, trust me, we can really do very well right through the series.
Thanks, sir. My second question is, with India's not so good history at Headingley, Lords, Edgbaston, Old Trafford, we have a spate of losses, 7 losses in Edgbaston, 4 in Headingley, 12 at Lords. We have some wins at Lords. How different is this series going to be with so many losses and very few wins in between?
No, look. Cricket is not decided by history. Cricket is decided by the present, particularly when you're playing in England. I've often believed, and I played a bit of cricket in England, English cricket is often decided not by what happens on the ground, but in the air. If the clouds come over, as we saw even between South Africa and Australia, the game can change. So every day of cricket in England can be very different to the next. So forget about history. What we've won, what we've not won, doesn't matter. I recently did a show on the 1971 series where my father played for India and won for the first time in England. We had never won a test match in England for 40 years, but we won in 71. In 86, you're talking about Headingley. You recall in 86, Kapil Dev's
Chetan,
team beat England at Headingley. They beat England
Headingley.
at Lords and they beat England at Headingley. Now, who gave a,
Correct.
it was a very good Indian team, very experienced Indian team. And I think experience does matter. I think if there is one weakness that we have in this team, it's with the exception of KL Rahul, none of the players have really played a lot of cricket in England. And I think that is going to be the one weak point. But forget about history. Think about the present. If Jasprit Bumrah gets the kind of wicket he needs, grey cloud, seaming conditions, he will have the English batsmen on a hop. I promise you. Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Siraj, Prasidh Krishna can be a formidable three-man pace bowling attack.
Okay, so thank you. Over to you, Kunal.
Yeah, so very good evening. Definitely the fanboy moment for people like me. And
Hi,
as a
Kunal.
pleasure to asking questions to you. So, from my little knowledge, I want to understand the Gill, which is a very prominent player and prominent now Indian captain in India. As a
Just wanted to
batsman,
interrupt, Rajdeep, just to interrupt him 1 second. Kunal has been an ex-cricketer, the only one among us who has played cricket at a first-class level.
Good, good. That doesn't mean all of you cannot have an opinion on cricket. Whether you played the
no,
game
no,
or
no.
not, we all have opinions.
I feel that's wonderful to have a all round views for
Cricket Adda,
everyone.
yes.
Yeah. So, how Gill in England and what would be Gigi's advice? Because as differently you spoke about the cricket doesn't play on the histories, it plays on the ground. So, what would be Gigi's advice to Gill? Because Gill also have a modest record in past outings in England. So, as a
Look,
batsman, as a Gill should perform. Yeah, please, sir.
I think Kunal, you make a very good point that you have a captain who's still trying to prove himself as a test player. He has tremendous potential. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Shubman Gill is a cricketer of tremendous potential. And I have no doubt that he's an all format player like Virat Kohli. But he's going to have to work at his game. And I think he's willing to put the hard yards. He's already an outstanding white ball player. I think it's only a matter of time before he's able to convert his white ball success into red ball success. I often believe if you're a quality player, you will play across formats. And for Shubman, this is a big tour. There are two players, Kunal, for who
Hmm.
I think are critical to our batting. One is KL Rahul, because he's the most experienced. He's got 100 in England in the past. He has the game to play in England because he plays late. Shubman,
Hmm.
because of his sheer talent, and he'll probably play at number 4, so that gives him a little bit more time to settle in, perhaps. I think is the other big player for India as far as batting goes. I have no doubt in Shubman's talents. I just hope sometimes outside the off stump, in England, the best shot in England, Kunal, is leaving the ball. Sunil Gavaskar would often say it's the best shot you play in England is when you don't play a shot because the ball does move late. And therefore, Shubman is going to have to be careful. Sometimes he pushes at the ball, sometimes
Yeah.
he falls over a bit to the offside and therefore becomes an LBW candidate. But there's a huge amount of talent there. And I have no doubt that he will realize this talent. This is not a great English bowling attack.
True.
In terms of experience, they've only got one bowler who's played more than 20 tests, and that's Chris Woke. So while we are looking at our team as an inexperienced batting, they've got
Hmm.
an inexperienced bowling side.
True. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think the ability of the Indian batter will definitely speak a volume over an inexperienced Indian English bowling attack. Let's see.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Over to you.
Good evening, sir. Very warm evening to you, sir. And it's a pleasure having you amongst us. And we really
Great
thank
to
you.
be
We
here.
are very thankful for taking time out of your busy schedule. So, one particular thing which just now you raised that if India has a very inexperienced batting lineup, even England has a very inexperienced bowling lineup with only 10, 20 tests amongst them. So, sir, can this be a psychological boost? Can this provide some kind of psychological advantage to the Indian batting lineup, which is also in a phase of transition, which you correctly pointed out?
Absolutely, Sudeep. I think, look, Just look at the English attack that we faced a few years ago. Jimmy Anderson ended up with more than 700 wickets.
Right.
Chris Broad with more than 500 wickets. So these were giants, legends of the game. At the moment, the highest wicket taker is Chris Wokes with just over 100 wickets. Now, I don't think Chris Wokes is anywhere close to a Jimmy Anderson or a Stuart Broad. So I think if we are able, as I said, the first test becomes crucial. If we can play well in the first test, it'll give a lot of confidence to the Indian team. If you go back in time, 1971, we won because in the first test, we had a good, strong showing in that game at Lords, and that gave us confidence. 1986, we won the test match at Lords, that gave us momentum. 2007 was a bit of a difference. We just about saved the match in the first test, but eventually won the series with that fabulous performance at Nottingham, where Rahul Dravid and Sanjay Bangar, I think, stood out. Sorry, Nottingham or Headingley, where we were put into, where we, took a tough call to bat first and eventually ended up doing very well. But I think uh, if we can get on top of the English bowling in the first test, score 350, 400, then I think we will put the English batsmen under pressure. I am very convinced that except for Joe Root, most of the English batsmen do not have the technical ability necessarily to combat a strong three-man pace attack. I know that Ollie Pope is a very good batsman. I know that Duckett and Crawley have scored runs at different times. There's Ben Stokes. I think, let me rephrase that. Root and Stokes are the key to the English batting. Stokes is a very, very good batsman. And I think if we can somehow get them early, we will put pressure on England as well. This is not a series where one side is way ahead of the other. If this was India, Australia with this team, I'd give Australia a huge edge. England is not Australia at the moment. And therefore, we have every chance if we can get the first test right, to do well in the series.
I have just a question, Rajdeep,
Coming,
sir,
Yes.
and that is Harry Brook. What is your take on Harry Brook?
Harry Brook at the moment has done outstandingly well in a very brief career. He's obviously this new generation England white ball player who's transitioned into red ball, plays very aggressively, but he gives you chances. I mean, Harry Brook struggled when he played the Australians a couple of years ago in the Ashes. I think Harry Brook against quality bowling, I'm still not sure. Most of his runs have come on featherbed wickets in Pakistan. That's where he's dominated. He's a good, terrific white ball player. I know he's got runs in tests as well, but he could be the next great England batsman. But he's still like Shubman. He's work in progress, and therefore, I just think that we are capable of taking on this English team. Net is what I'm saying. I mean, many people have been writing in saying, this this inexperienced Indian team will be wiped out. I think our inexperience is a boon, because when you're inexperienced, you're fearless, and therefore you don't come with baggage. So I'm hopeful of a good series for the Indian cricketers.
and so coming to the batting lineup, apart from Rahul and Gill, so do you think that the Sai Sudarshan and Karun Nair, they both had some short county stints and they are familiar with the English conditions? So can this provide some stability in the middle order, sir?
A good question, Sudeep, because I think, look, Sai Sudarshan looked outstanding in the IPL. He's got to
Yes, sir.
now make that transition to Test cricket. I know Ravi Shastri thinks very highly of him, and Ravi is a very good judge of a cricketer. So I have high hopes of Sai Sudarshan, left-hander. He brings a left-hander at the top of the order along with Jaiswal. Karun Nair, how many cricketers have come back after 8 years of their last test? Doesn't
Very
happen too
rare.
often. So he's clearly got the temperament. But yes, there's another cricketer I think will do very well if he's given a chance, Dhruv Jurel. Every time I see Dhruv Jurel bat, he looks a quality batsman. I won't be surprised by the final test. Dhruv Jurel is batting at number 5 or 6 for India. But Karun Nair will be tested in English conditions. It's one thing to score big runs in domestic Ranji cricket. It's another thing to score big runs in England. But he had a decent first outing for the India A team. And look, for the Indian batting, I maintain the key are Rahul uh, and Gill. Jaiswal is a cricketer who improves with every game. Rishabh Pant is a match winner. So we're not as experienced in our batting as we are in our bowling, but I think in every Test match at least one Indian batsman will shine.
Thank you so much, sir. Over to you,
Right.
Rajiv.
So, yeah, thanks a ton. So Rajiv, Mr. Sardesai, I'll tell you what, it's such a fan moment for me. So thank you for coming on. My question is straight away on the bowling part. India's bowling looks stronger than the batting, right? However, we have Bumrah, Kuldeep, who may not participate in all tests. So how are you going to distribute this bowling? How do you see Bumrah, which test he would play? Where do you introduce Kuldeep? What is your take on this Indian bowling? How are they going to play with England?
What's your name again?
My name is
Rajiv.
Rajiv. Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Rajiv, look, great question. One of the things that troubles me is this whole thing that Bumrah will only play 3 tests. I was speaking to Kapil Dev recently, and he said, "Look, I played every Test match. But Bumrah's action and maybe the intensity of the workload on him means you've got to protect him. I can see where that's coming from, but uh, uh, if he's only playing 3 tests, that leaves a big hole in the other 2 tests." Um, and therefore, I think the backup fast bowlers will have to step up. That's why I think they've added Harshit Rana. I think Arshdeep is someone who, on a green top, could trouble the English batsman, especially as he's left arm. So he could, be a differentiator. And Kuldeep Yadav, same. Kuldeep Yadav is an X factor. I don't think you play him in the first test because I think June is a month normally in England where spinners struggle a bit. Headingley also is expected to be relatively dry, but I would still keep Kuldeep for the second half of the tour. When I think, because having that X factor may give him a slight edge over, let's say, even a Ravi Jadeja. So Kuldeep, for me, could be third test onwards. And Bumrah, ideally, should at least play the first 2 tests. The first 2 tests set the template of a series. I would like to hope that Jasprit Bumrah plays 4 of the 5 tests. Chalo, 1 test mein aap rest kar lo. But don't rest two tests. We need Bumrah actually firing in every test, frankly.
Sir,
Thanks, Adan.
just a flip, sir. If tomorrow's temperature is 30 degrees, that is being said at Headingley, does Indian management is tempted to play Kuldeep? If tomorrow is 30 degrees at Headingley?
Yeah, no, Rahul, that's a good question, but I don't think so. I mean, yes, there is the temptation always to play someone like a Kuldeep because he brings, as I said, a variety to your attack. But I think in England, you go with 3 fast bowlers. You go with a recognized bowling all-rounder in Jadeja, who's a very fine number 7 batsman. And you take a fast bowling all-rounder and choose between Nitish Reddy and Shardul Thakur for the first test. But I think if the first test, depending on how it goes, then you look at Kuldeep. But I would not start the series with Kuldeep. He's my surprise weapon. I keep him for the third test.
Hi, sir. This is Sagar.
Hi,
It's
Sagar.
not always hi. So it's not very common that commoners and sports buff like us have the opportunity to ask question to Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai.
No,
So
no,
we are
I'm
extreme.
also a commoner and a sports buff like you. But go ahead, Sagar.
So my simple question, you had actually hinted about the workload management, which a lot of the current crop of fast bowlers are going through. And again, you had mentioned about Kapil Dev playing almost whole career without only with I think missing out on 1 test because of injury. Is this workload management that currently is a thing of the current generation? Is it because of the bowling actions which is not properly done in the early phase of their career, or is it because too much cricket, especially I'm saying the franchise cricket, which is eating up into their body?
Great question again. Look, Kapil Dev, who I mentioned earlier, played for India for 15 years and only missed 1 test match. That too,
Yeah,
he was dropped because of a
yeah,
shot he played in Delhi in 1984.
And dropped
yeah.
in Calcutta.
And
Dropped
he
in
was dropped
Kolkata.
in the Calcutta test. That was 84-85 against Gowers, England. Now,
Yeah.
Kapil Dev, of course, grew up in a generation where there was no T20, where there was no, where India had an off season of sorts. But he still went and played county cricket, came back and would play for India as well. Uh, Having said that, I think it's more and more difficult now because I think there is a relentlessness to cricket, which was not there in the past. If you're not playing a test match, you're playing T20, you're playing a 50 over. So I think Bumrah needs to be protected. I can see where that comes, particularly because of his action, which is unique, which you would never teach a youngster, but then Jasprit Bumrah is Jasprit Bumrah. But I think some of the other younger fast bowlers should be ready to play as much as they can. In fact, Kapil Dev always told me the more he played, the stronger he became. The more you bowl, the stronger your legs become. So
Wow.
look at Pat Cummins. He's playing. He doesn't ask for a break. He's captain of Australia, and that's another pressure. But he plays every Test match. So I think at some stage we're going to have to prioritize Tests, T20, ODIs. Should we have Bumrah playing T20s or should he only play Tests and ODIs? All these questions need to be asked. But as I said, I only hope Bumrah only misses one Test. I think Bumrah should play four. I hope this is psychological to suggest I will play three. I'm sure he will play four. Mark my words.
And if it
Noted,
is
sir.
2-2, sir, if it is 2-2, then what happens?
If it's 2-2, he's played the four tests. He will do whatever it takes to play the fifth. Jasprit Bumrah is a once in a generation cricketer, so I have no doubt that he will be ready for the fifth test if it's 2-2.
Thank you so much, sir. We really were absolutely privileged to hear from you. And to sum up now all the questions we had on behalf of the team, what's your final take on the result?
Of the first test or the entire series?
The series.
You know, I hate to predict because, as I said, England is one of those places where each test match could be distinct to the other. It is not, the wickets vary because of the conditions. I would like to think that I would say it's 55-45 in favor of England at the moment because of home conditions. I give England the edge because they are playing at home. If the same series was being played at India, I would give India a 60-40 edge with this team and the English team. But in England, I think England has a tough team to beat. But the first two tests are key. If we can go into Lords at with the series level, whether that's 1-1 or nil or two draws, anything can happen. I think it is important for us to give a strong performance in test number one, because if we do badly in test number one, things could really get bad. On the other hand, and you mentioned the weather, 30 degrees, wicket is dry, good, a little bit of sunshine. Who knows? KL Rahul scores 100. Sai Sudarshan on debut goes and scores 100. Shubman in his first test scores 100. India scores 500. And we put pressure on the English. I think with Indian cricket, you have to be optimistic. There's so much
Yeah.
of talent in this team that, I hope Prasidh Krishna also pulls his weight. He's done again well in white ball. He needs to transfer that to red ball. We are going to have to play our very best to beat this English side in England. So 55-45 to England. But Indian cricket is always at its best when you write it off. So don't write off this Indian team. I think they're going to do reasonably well.
Sir, apart from Michael Clark, who said 3-2 yesterday, everyone said 3-1, 4-1 England. Graham Swan said it's a preparation for Ashes, which was a huge backlash in Indian media. 3-1, 4-1, you were not predicting, sir.
No, these are all the English and Australians love to play psychological games.
Yeah.
I mean, England was nowhere close to qualifying for the World Test Championship.
Right.
All this baseball is very good. It's very attractive to watch. But how many tests has England won with baseball? It is attractive cricket, no doubt. But I think there's still a question mark over England's ability to win test matches on a regular basis. They will give you chances because of the way they play the game. And so I'm not going into 3-1, 4-1 at the moment. I don't want to go, as I said, into numbers. I said 55-45 in England's favor.
So it's a percentile for you, sir.
Yeah, percentile. Because I think in England, as I said, look at South Africa, Australia. That first and second day wicket was very different to day three. And that can happen only in England, where wickets can change depending on overhead conditions. So we get a grey sky tomorrow in Headingley and Bumrah's bowling. England better watch out.
So will you be watching tomorrow? I know you're tight schedule with the America-Iran war. Will you be watching?
Look, even when I'm doing the news and there's a test match on, I make sure that the TV in front of me in the studio is showing cricket.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And before we wind up, sir, can we have a request, sir, on behalf of the team? After the series ends, can we have you for half an hour to
Oh,
review
sure.
and
You can
round the
have me.
series?
You can have me whenever you want at the end of the series as well. And
Yeah.
I'm delighted to listen to such great cricket fans. And I hope that your
Sir, no,
show.
we are no cricket fans, but
Sir,
in general,
I have
yeah,
one
sir,
question.
please.
What comes to my mind as a cricketer, we always cherish for to get an India cap.
Yeah.
But when I see a young cricketer leave the series to take a break, so my question is that whether the present Indian cricketer, whether not excited to get an Indian cap and play for the country, they give up the series and said, I need a break. So what is your take on that, sir?
No, who's asked for a break?
Ishan Kishan previously has said they got the lessons
Look,
earlier.
look, Kunal, I still believe a majority of the Indian cricketers cherish an Indian cap. Look at the efforts they have all put in to come where they are. Look at Yashasvi Jaiswal. Lived his life. He came to Mumbai at the age of 10 from Badawi. He lived in a tent at Azad Maidan and he's playing for India. Did he not want to play for India? Of course he does. I mean, I believe Indian cricketers today are as hungry as ever to play for India. Yes, T20 has slightly skewed it. Many people first want to play for an IPL franchise and then India. But there is no bigger prize in Indian cricket than wearing an Indian cap. So if Sai Sudarshan gets his tomorrow, I really wish him well. I hope he can translate that IPL form into test form. Playing for India is the biggest joy and pride for you and your family, I think, that anyone can have.
So we can have two table tents also. If Arshdeep comes in for Rashid, well, I'm not sure it will be, but we can have Arshdeep because he takes away the ball from the left-hander.
Sure. I mean, look, we'll have a lot of debutants, I'm sure, in this series. Arshdeep is another name that you mentioned there. A couple of names. Look, Nitish Reddy came into the team last time against Australia. First series, scored 100 in Melbourne. That's as tough a place to score 100. So, be positive.
Yes.
Be positive.
Yes.
Hobena. You can't live with this Hobena. No Hobena.
Well said, sir. Well said.
Well said, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been writing 3-1 for England. One of the posts, Rajdeep sir had written that don't be so negative. I know, agree. So, sir, this in relatively inexperienced batting, just summing up, you were saying it is absolutely okay with this batting to beat in England. That's your final take.
My final take is never predict a test series before the first ball is bowled and both sides have batted.
Right,
True, sir. Thank you.
Perfect, sir.
Wonderful. Privileged, Rajdeep sir, that in spite of this war coming up, you took out time, and I was telling my team that this happens. I mean, the reason where you are is because of this. That you called me thrice to fix out the time. You could have easily WhatsApp me and said,
my apologies for that. My apologies.
No, sir.
Sir. We were wanting and watching to hear from you, and we are absolutely privileged. As you said, it's a fanboy moment, not for them, for us. On behalf of the team, request you that once the series is over, 4th of August, in the middle of August, we'll have you for half an hour, sir. Please.
No, I have one condition. All of you have to read my cricket book, Democracy is 11.
100%. 100%.
Done. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.